Hello and welcome to MCM Reacts, where the team behind MCM Comic Con get together every Monday morning and watch the latest episode of the 8th and final season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm Alice.
I'm Ellie.
And we just watched episode 1, Winterfell.
Yeah, there's a lot happened. A lot went down in the first episode, which is a great beginning to the final season.
I really, really enjoyed it. It was everything that I wanted from an initial episode, and we've got so much to unpack.
Yeah, let's start.
Let's start. The opening scene was super mirroring the first season.
Yes.
When Arya watches King Robert Baratheon arrive, and she like runs and stands on a wagon so she can see him come in.
She was so small.
She was so little. She was so cute. And they had a little boy do that, and he looks up at her, and she's like the cool one now.
All I could think of the entire time was when in the first episode again, Arya is training with the arrow, and Jon is watching her from up on the balcony, and then that happened with Sansa on the top, and I was like, there's so many parallels to this. They've actually thought about this. Who would expect that?
We were, the whole time we were like, she's going to see Jon, she's going to see Jon, she's going to run to him, and then she just watches him walk past, and we're like, say hi.
Say something, he's there. Everyone was so awkward with Jon, apart from Arya. Like, watching it was almost painful to watch.
Literally, him saying hi to Bran was like the most awkward family Christmas you've ever been to. Where you're like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in ages, and he's just like, I'm 100 now.
I'm 1,000. I think, literally, did he say to Sam, I'm not his brother anymore?
Yeah.
And it was like, it's funny because he's so weird, but it also... It was so sad to watch it. Everyone's changed so much.
The whole world has been waiting for this reunion since the first season, and it happens, and Bran is just like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm a crow now."
And Sansa the whole time is just like,
oh my god, the look that she gave Daenerys when she met her for the first time, and Daenerys is like, "Oh my god, you're so pretty," and she's like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, thanks. People have told me already. Do you think Sansa will ever accept Dany?
I don't know. She kind of was like a little bit softer when Jon confronted her, but I feel like she's grown so much and she's so wary of everything that she just has to be like that. She's learnt to play the game. Yeah. So she has to be like pro Sansa now. So I kind of liked that they had her play it that way, but she does come across as a bit of a... It was a bit harsh. But.
I reckon she's got a secret game plan that isn't going to come out until later on. When Tyrion was watching her and she was speaking to... I can't remember the name of the guy. One of her, like, advisors. And they were speaking up on the balcony.
Oh, yeah, and he was, like, sneaking...
Yeah, like, I think, I don't know. She's definitely up to something.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that's to do with Dany.
No, I think it's definitely all... Like, she's playing the game more than anyone. Her and Cersei are, like, the two biggest players now in terms of actual, like... the pettiness of the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The entire episode, the whole of the North, were sort of cool. You probably shouldn't have bent the knee to this like mad dragon queen.
Dragon lady. Yeah.
Which you can kind of get because from their point of view, they haven't seen who Daenerys is. Yeah. She's just this, like, obviously beautiful, but kind of terrifying woman with the biggest army in the world and 2 fully grown dragons.
And she's not exactly answering to them either. No. Like, her reaction to Sansa is very much, well, I'm your queen, so I don't care what you think of me, you have to honour me.
Yeah, she doesn't have much patience for it.
No, she's not exactly warming their hearts.
No. But I think from Sam's point of view, he does know a little bit more, and he should maybe have a little bit more faith in Jon, but I do get his misgivings. I just don't know if his relationship with his dad and his brother, it surprises me a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know whether there's maybe something else going on there. I don't know what it could be, but yeah, his reaction wasn't normal. No, and then he suddenly... I would have been interested to know how different it would be if he hadn't found out that about his dad and his brother. How would he then tell Jon the information that he knows? Would he still be like, you're the king, you have to... Yeah, so that was kind of awkwardly pushed onto Sam. I think Bran was like, I'm weird, but I'm not that weird. I'm not bringing up that relationship. That's your job. You're his friend. So Sam got definitely the short stick there, but the way he did it, I was expecting it to be like so this is what happened. Yeah. It was she did this, and now you should be our king.
He was very confrontational. I expected him to be like,
babe, don't
overreact, but
maybe stop sleeping
you're
with
having
her though.
Sex with your aunt.
Yeah, not like that at all.
No,
maybe he was just creeped out.
Maybe he's just overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's been a big day for Sam.
It's been a big day.
So at one point, I think when Jon is talking to Sansa, he mentions like she's changed, she's not her father. Do you think that's foreshadowing like to later on? Do you think she's going to become like a mad queen?
Yeah, potentially. Like that would, at some point, given what we know now about Jon, and given what Jon knows now about Jon, which is obviously like a big deal in this episode, he is going to have to confront her, and he's going to have to like come out as Targaryen, if he wants to.
Do you think
like,
he will?
I don't know, because he does genuinely seem to like her, but at the same time, he's very much like Ned Stark. Like he's got a duty, and his duty is to do what's best for the North.
I like to think that now that he knows that she is his auntie, I like to think that maybe that relationship will change a bit. I would hope so, but hey, it didn't stop Jaime and Cersei.
And literally the entire
or anyone else.
Targaryen legacy.
Yeah, so I hope something changes. But I don't know whether he'll ever come out as the actual heir to the throne.
It's a big deal. Like, if someone told me that, I don't know what I'd do with that information.
No.
But he did just ride a dragon, which is it's as Targaryen as
pretty
it gets.
Targaryen.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about how awkward that moment was when Jon and Dany, well, you know, they'd gone to like a secret little ice cave. They were about to get it on, and Jon turns around and his dragon is just like
dragons.
Go on. It was so weird. What is that dragon up to? I feel like those dragons are like human in themselves.
Yeah, it was literally like the dragon was her protective dad watching her get off with her prom date or something.
So weird.
It's super odd. But the dragon that he rode was Rhaegal, which is named after his dad.
Again,
like,
foreshadowing,
just perfect. Right? It was like very like egret. They also wandered off into an ice cave and also were like, oh, we could just stay here forever. He does that with everyone.
My soul, as much as I love Jon and Dany together, which I know is topical because, you know, we all know why. I love Ygritte so much, and I can't. It hurts me to see Jon with anybody else, and especially when the scene was pretty much the exact scene with Ygritte.
I know it's hard to see him move on when that relationship was so perfect. Yeah, and so formative for him. Yeah. It's like a whole reunion of everyone who's ever been in Game of Thrones in Winterfell. And then you get to King's Landing and it's Cersei by herself, looking out all over these ships. Literally. But even, I know that obviously most people died in the fire. A giant fire. But even, the commoners, are they about? Literally. Or is it just her now? I don't know, because it can't have killed everyone in the whole city. There's obviously prostitutes. We saw Bronn having the best time chatting about dragons. Watching that in the office wasn't weird. As much as I'm not the biggest fan of Cersei, I don't know what you think of her. I know that she's playing a game, but when they did hook up, I was so annoyed at her. I'm you're better than this. I know that she's not better than that, but I like to think that she is. Seeing that was I don't know. Obviously, that's going to be a plot point. I don't know what her aim is. Yeah. Other than to get his army, I guess. Yeah. Also, is she pregnant or not? Because she definitely told Jaime that she was pregnant with his child, right? Yeah. And then Euron was like, "I'll put a baby in you." Yeah, in super creepy, gross way. And she didn't. She reacted odd to that. I just don't know. She started crying when he left. Yeah. But I don't know whether that was because she was she hates what she's doing, or whether because she is already pregnant. Maybe. If she is pregnant, do you think she'll claim it's Euron's? Why would she want that though? I don't know why she wants anything. Genuinely, when he came back and he had the army and he didn't bring the elephants, I don't know why she would just chop his head off right then. The most awkward reunion award goes to Jaime and Bran. Yeah. Oh my god, when we were watching that, at the very end, we were just there you could feel the awkwardness in the room. All of us Literally. Are this is the worst thing that's ever happened. But I thought it was so nice that the opening scene was a perfect mirror of the first series. Yeah. And then it ended on the end of the first series, obviously episode 1 ended on him pushing him out of the thing, the things I do for love. Yep. And then this episode ends on him seeing him and just looking like he's seen his worst nightmare. I can't believe that
it's been 8 seasons and they've not come across each other again. I know that obviously he knew he was alive, but it's super weird that like so much has happened. Bran is now a 1,000-year-old man, and he's like, oh crap, that was the little boy that I pushed out of a window.
It's like the embodiment of his evilness at the start, and like how far he's come. It's like he has to face that now after that whole redemption cycle. He has to face what he did. It's probably the worst thing that we've seen him do. Yeah,
actually, like when you watch the first season, Jaime and Cersei are like, you know, the 2 evil baddies, and he does this horrible thing that you're like, how could anybody do that to a child? Which is definitely like not the worst thing that's happened to a child in this show. But seeing him face that, it's like he's been through so much and he's had such a life since then. I bet it probably is hard for him to see it, of like a reminder of what was happening back then.
But the sweetest reaction and the sweetest reunion was Jon and Arya.
That melted my heart.
We nearly cried.
Seeing her, I did cry. I was like,
the room was dark. I didn't know.
Like, I'm fine. Seeing her go from this little kid to literally an assassin, she felt like that little kid again when she was with Jon, and it was just so nice to be able to see her like let her guard down. I don't think we've seen her like that with anyone in a while.
Not for a while.
After all of the awkward reunions, I was so worried about their reunion. I was like, is it going to be awkward? She's a different person now. He's changed. Like, is it going to be the same? And it was. It was. Their relationship is the exact same as it was in season 1.
It was so sweet.
It's my favourite thing.
It is. It's adorable. And she still has Needle.
Yeah.
And they can just sort of be the people that they were before all of this awful shit happens. But I did think he obviously knows that she's a different person. But he definitely does not have any sort of comprehension of just how dark she's become.
Well, when he turned around and was like, how did you sneak up on me? I was like, that is the last of your worries, Jon.
Literally. And he was like, oh, you're protecting Sansa now, in a kind of jovial way. Or, have you used it? And she's like, yes. So yeah, I feel like he's got a reckoning with the consequences of them all separating and what actually that's done to people.
And I think that showed when he jokingly said about Sansa, like, you're on her side. She was obviously, she never had a relationship with Sansa at the beginning. It was always her and Jon. So I think he might come, like, it'll take him a while to come to terms with the relationships that have changed.
That's true.
I don't know whether, as the season goes on, I don't know whose side Arya is going to be on.
No, I don't. I'll be interested to see her role, because she also asked Gendry to make her like a spear, like a detachable spear.
What was going on with that?
I don't know. I don't know whether she's got her own agenda, whether she's still pursuing her list, or
by the looks of it with the Hound, she didn't look too happy to see him.
She didn't, and that was a weird reunion as well. But her and Gendry, like, that was a nicer reunion than I had expected.
I have never really thought much about their relationship until that first episode. Watching them together, I was like, there's something
going on.
That little flirty look that she gave
really
him,
cute.
it was. I really hope that she gets that. She's not had that chance to, you know, like, she's always been a child in the eyes of everyone else. So then to see kind of someone look at her as like, you're a woman, you're someone that I could be in love with.
It's really nice.
I was like, she deserves that.
She does deserve that. I don't know. I want to believe that they can be happy, but it's still Game of Thrones, and I feel like they're building up to something that just can't happen. I don't know what a happy ending for Arya looks like. She's been through more, I think, than anyone individually has had to go through who's still alive. She's a assassin. She's so dark. She's murdered people, sometimes in cold blood. Not that they didn't deserve it, but she's a monster. And I don't think that she is, even though she looks like that little girl again when she hugs Jon. I don't know if she ever can be again. But the biggest Arya plot point that I want to see is Nymeria to return with like an army of wolves and somehow save the day.
Okay, if Theon and Nymeria are the 2 people that save the day, that would be the best plot twist ever in Game of Thrones.
That would be beautiful storytelling.
I really hope Nymeria comes back. It's been kind of not teased, but everyone's aware that she's there and that we've not seen her in a while and that she's still alive. So if she doesn't come back, it'll be a missed opportunity.
I'll be super sad.
Unless she comes back as a white.
I don't like that.
No, me neither. Let's not think about that.
And that definitely means Arya's doomed if that happens.
Do you think?
Yeah. So, the grossest scene had to be Tormund and co. stumbling on little Lord Ned Umber.
It laid out in the most depressing Catherine wheel I've ever seen.
Literally.
It was like the Night King's little calling card, like the Night King was here. Could have just left it in graffiti. Didn't have to go that extreme. But obviously it's kind of like a sign of everything that's to come.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Based on the opening credits, it seems like their trajectory is going to be obviously straight through to King's Landing, which makes sense. But it's worrying for everyone in the north, because that is going to be like one hell of a battle.
Yeah, but obviously now they're up in the north with the Night King's army and then Winterfell, so they've got a massive blocker getting down. I don't know whether they'll make it back.
Well, somehow, somewhere between them and Winterfell, there's a whole army of zombies.
Yes.
Which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Including a zombie dragon, which you would think some people would be able to spot on the horizon, maybe.
Yeah, especially considering Winterfell isn't that far from the wall.
No, really
what's
isn't.
Left of it, I guess.
Comparatively to the rest of the country.
Yeah, especially when they're flying about, they're not exactly, well, Dany and Jon aren't trying to be subtle with their dragons, so I don't know where he's at.
No, it'll be interesting to see the pacing of the series.
I kind of expected the first episode to have way more deaths than it did. Only Ned was the only so
more season one.
More parallels. Little baby Ned was the only death.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. I thought way more people would go in the first episode. I was kind of preparing myself for a big character to go. I was watching Arya very closely the entire time.
Very much so
it's an interesting choice that they made.
Yeah, it was very like, we know you're sensitive, we'll ease you in.
Yeah.
But be prepared because everyone is going to die.
It's been a while, you might not remember what the show is like, but oh wait, here's a boy stapled to a wall, surrounded by limbs, this is what you've got for the next 5 episodes.
And that was very much a mirror of the first episode. Like the intro to the first episode of season 1 shows you exactly what you're in for. It's not just politics, it's zombies. Yeah. When they go north of the wall, they find one of the wildlings stapled to a tree. I think that was it.
I think he's on the floor, but again, he's surrounded by that little motif, I guess.
Yeah, it's their calling card.
Yeah, and then the guy who found it obviously died straight after.
Yeah. Based on previous seasons, they had the habit of splitting episode 1 and 2 with the characters, because they had the sheer volume of characters that they have to catch up with. But because everything has aligned a lot more now as we go into the final season, a lot of it was covered in the first series.
Yeah, I feel like we've really got 2 different like settings. We've got Winterfell and King's Landing, and I can't imagine we're going to be taken much further
Not
from
too
that.
much. The biggest character that was missing, obviously, was the Night King.
Hot pie. So it kind of feels like the Harry Potter film, The Prisoner of Azkaban, you know, where Voldemort is so clearly not in it. Yeah, but it's every plot point is kind of leading up to that. It kind of feels like that, like such a noticeable absence, but I kind of liked it. Yeah. I thought it was nice to have an episode without him in to like set the scene, and then obviously it's going to kick off again. Yeah,
we've only got 6 episodes, so I guess they have to save some of the epic zombie army shots as like plot points for the next few episodes, but it did feel a bit strange. Melisandre as well, I don't know what's up with her.
So the last time we saw her, it was her leaving Jon, and we've kind of not heard from her since, and I'm not sure how she's going to come back into it. They didn't really set up a plot arc for her for this season.
No, the only thing that we've got is from way back when she bumped into Arya and she said, "We will meet again." And I feel like that was foreshadowing that it would be dumb not to pick that up.
It's not the sort of thing that they would put in if they didn't plan to bring her back and know that she was going to come back into it. But I don't know what that looks like.
No, I'm excited to see, because Beric is obviously there and he's of the same faith, so I feel like that might be leading towards something, considering she was so involved with Jon's resurrection. Yeah. And we don't really have any answers as to what happened there.
No, when it was brought up between him and Arya, and it was a bit, I thought, how did you survive with a dagger through your heart? I didn't.
Cool, that's normal.
Just move on. Move on.
Thank you for joining us for this very emotional debrief of the first episode. Yeah,
leave your comments down below, your predictions for the next episode. We're really intrigued as to what you guys might think, whether you think we're on the right lines or whether you've got something in the back of your mind that you're sure will happen.
Definitely, yeah. And tune in next week as we'll go through every episode, every week for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be a blubbering mess by the end of it.
Yeah, we'll be emotionally wrecked.
You'll be here with us.
See you next week.
Bye.